Congressman Eric Swalwell's alleged ties to a Chinese spy could have serious security implications for the United States. But apparently that wasn't enough for cable and network media outlets who mostly ignored this story.
I bet you they can't for long. Here to react, Fox News contributor, media opinion columnist, he also writes for The Hill, Joe Concha. Joe, let's talk about Swalwell first. I mean, this guy says, oh, I'm being targeted because the president doesn't like that I went after him on Russia collusion, but I'll stand up to the president. I love what Jonathan Swan said. He goes, understanding of how Trump world works, do you really think they would put out some opposition research that patiently wait a year beyond an election for the very well-respected China correspondent to report it out in a nuanced fashion? Come on, it doesn't pass the laugh test, the smell test, any test.
Yeah, my old colleague, Jonathan Swan, he's good people, and he makes a great point that Swalwell, instead of showing contrition here around saying, you know, for the last 4 years, I accused the president of the United States of being an agent of Russia. He then goes back to the Russia card from the bottom of the deck, mind you, and accuses Axios, not exactly a bastion of conservative sentiment, of colluding with the president to put this story out about him because the president sees Eric friggin' Swalwell as a threat because, what, he ran for president for 5 minutes or he failed in his impeachment? So, yeah, that's the thing, right? And perhaps the reason why media outlets aren't running with this is because Eric Swalwell is a very reliable guest, right? He has been on at least 2/3 of cable news, not Fox News, hundreds of times over the last 4 years, again, accusing the president of being an agent of Russia or running an extortion scheme in Ukraine. And that makes him provocative, and that gets people that are on the left their comfort food on a nightly basis. And perhaps also, just like Adam Schiff, the Michael Avenatti of Congress, he serves as a pretty decent source as well whenever you hear about unnamed sources leaking to a particular outlet. So he's reliable, and therefore they'll keep him on an unofficial payroll by booking him on a consistent basis to make wild claims that they'll never, ever challenge an Eric Swalwell on, guys.
You know, Joe, I didn't realize what his middle name was until that soundbite, so thanks very much. You gotta wonder, though, about the timing of this story, and you gotta wonder about the timing of the Hunter Biden break that apparently now they're looking into his tax problems and all sorts of problems with Hunter Biden and the laptops in there. All this stuff comes out after the election, and yet both stories were out there under the surface in official Washington for a very long time.
Yeah, isn't that amazing, Steve? Now it's okay to talk about Hunter Biden. It's after the election, right? We couldn't even discuss it online, or else your account got locked out by Twitter. So social media, traditional media saying, thou shall not discuss the Hunter Biden story. We're not even going to pursue it, investigate it. Of course, maybe now that'll happen because, no, I have a feeling they don't, guys. So anyway, I know you're short on time, but
I've got
I
a
have to bring
question for you.
Oh, Ainsley, go ahead. Sorry,
Hey,
I felt like
Joe.
I was being ushered out.
No, my question for you is apparently Fox News is reporting, Daily Mail is reporting that she was still friends, this Russian spy lady, Christine Fang, with Swalwell's dad and brother on Facebook. As of yesterday, it's taken down now, or they're not friends with her now. But if he knew she was a Russian spy in 2015, or a reported Russian spy, Chinese spy, we talk so much about Russia, Chinese spy, then why would they still be friends with her? That's my question. She left the country. He says he didn't have contact with her after that.
Well, are your friends on Facebook really your friends, Ainsley? I mean, there are some that have been quite shocking over the last couple of years in terms of some of the things they have said about me on Facebook. But to your point, though, all levity aside, the fact that they would be friends on social media, that's also another way of communicating, by the way, right? There's something called Facebook Messenger where you could actually trade messages back and forth. The bottom line is that we just don't know. Eric Swalwell has not been accused of any wrongdoing since, he obviously, this was several years ago. But at the same time, let's show some consistency, guys, as far as covering this, because I think you had Matt Gaetz on before, and he's the perfect example. If he had been involved in something like this before he got into Congress, or this were any of the president's children, you would need to add an hour to 24/7 cable news to cover the outrage, the pious soapbox journalism that we would see. Yeah, exactly, as a result of something like this. So, yeah, there's no consistency because we're talking about not even the bias of omission anymore. I know you use that term a lot. It's the sin of omission, and it is a sin that this isn't being covered.